Have you been overindulging, Gemini? It's not a judgment. It's a question. It's just a question. I feel like you've been having a damn good summer, man. That's what I'm picking up. Maybe a little bit of a saturation point this week. Or even you have to sit back and be like, did I fuck up? Because I can't remember. Just wanted to check in where you guys are at in terms of your flow. How does it go? Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a little bit of an overindulgence, and that's okay. Like, listen. Let's put it this way, though. Let's let this week be the turning point. Because I feel like for those of you who don't turn back, like, or just give yourself a break, a little bit of a reprieve this week, there could be some consequences that, you're gonna want to avoid later on. Welcome to Born Without Boundaries. My name is Michelle, and this is my channel. I do oracle readings, tarot readings, and these week ahead zodiac interactions, basically week ahead forecast, if you will. Welcome, Gemini, to your reading for August 11th through the 17th. There are major celestial things happening in the ether. Bring a gentle touch. You need to bring a gentle touch to yourself. I heard it, dude. I touched myself. I picked up on it. When I think about you, you know what bothered me the most about that song was not even the lyrics. It was, I don't like the lady's voice. Am I the only one? Anyway, gentle touch, a sweetness. Oh, yes. There's there's just a soothing out this week that needs to be done. And I feel like that gentle touch needs to be done with you. Has to be done with what you're subjecting yourself to. I feel like there's just been a lot of partying. I feel like there's been a lot of indulgences. Drink, sex is sex. Like a lot of good times, Gemini. But this is that point. This is that peak moment right now. Oh yeah, you've been living it up, putting on the Ritz. You have. Letting the world know what you want to show. You have been the belle of the ball. But I also feel like you've been around a lot of fake motherfuckers. You do. Like a lot of people who aren't necessarily part of your tribe. And that's okay because you're fascinated. That could very well have been your indulgence. You have been literally sinking your teeth into a lot of new innocent flesh. But you're being called, you have a lot of new innocent flesh because you do. That's one of your biggest indulgences is getting into people, seeing their minds, knowing them, talking to them, experiencing life through them, connecting with them, and then moving on to the next. Like that's how you live your life. And it's beautiful, but it's decadent at this point. So there's a call this week to be wary of all the not so real people that are coming into your life. This isn't normally, Gemini, this wouldn't, in a personal level, this wouldn't affect you at all because you let it roll off your, you let like the shallowness and the, just abundant social life. You just let it all roll off your back. You don't really take it that seriously. But it's at a point where it's the volume that's too much. This is something that you can't let roll off your back. You could let a rainstorm roll off your back. You can't let a fucking hurricane roll off your back. There's just certain amounts that are too much. And you're being asked, especially on your sister sign of Aquarius, to start looking at a bigger picture now because you're getting a little too lost in the crowd. You're getting too lost in what you're interacting with. And that's not good for you. What you need is a firmer foundation, a more solid place of way of being, people to be around, to be more discerning, to really start selecting people in a better way moving forward. Love is all around. So you have been living it up. You have been living it up, up, up. And now it's coming down, 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 down. It's coming down again. Like it's like the bubble has popped. There's too much. There's too much boom. There's too much bass around you. And the firm, solid foundation. I'm not telling you settle. I'm not telling you get into a relationship. I'm not telling you anything. I'm not trying to make decisions for you in any way, shape, or form. But I am saying that what I see is that you have to be nicer to yourself and more selective by who you're hanging around. Because you've let too many fake people in. You've met too many like shallow people. Yeah, they're fun. Yeah, they're fabulous. It's all a great time, but it's too much. And at this point, you're at a risk, right on the verge of losing who you are to the crowd if you don't become more discerning about who your crowd is. This is not you. That loyalty, that truth, that staying around, that long-term commitment, it's not you, but it's a call to be loyal to what is important to you. And what is important to you are your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, what you've always wanted to make real for yourself. And that's where I feel like the indulgence is really sucking away from you and like being vampiric on you this week is it's gotten to a point where it started to delay prosperity coming in those things that you wanted, in those things that are extremely important to you. So you're being asked this week to go deeper than you normally would. And to use maybe that second side of yourself that you keep for, the big moments where you really need to pull out the big guns and get a little bit more honest with who you are and what you really want out of life, Gemini. Because you have been escaping some sort of almost like phantom menace, if you will. You've sort of been escaping something that you really just didn't want to deal with. And it's easy for you, too. It's so easy for you to not think about things from day 1 to day 2. But it's like day 45. And you're starting to distance yourself from yourself, to distance yourself from this lurking, looming thing you're trying to avoid, what you don't want to see. And you might just damn well drown. It's a restart time. That's what this full moon is. To let all that shit just be gone. To let it go. To let it be done. Because this is a major restart time for you, Gemini. This is a time for you to lock and load and recharge. This is a time where people aren't seeing things from your perspective now. People are seeing things from a higher perspective. They're seeing a bigger picture. They're not seeing things from your perspective right now, and that could be very frustrating. And what I feel really, 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 you want attention. You want to be seen. You're used to getting attention. And right now, it's not all eyes on you right now. And you're starting to feel like this almost kind of eclipse of yourself. Like, wait a second, what? This is a great time for you to get to know you, not through the eyes of others. For you to get a solid foundation of who you are all alone in the dark, without any attention, without any validation or any other people around, whether it's your students or your colleagues or your coworkers or your staff or whoever you're dating at this point. You always see yourself through the eyes of others. You need the attention. that validation, that validation, all eyes on you. What happens when they're not? That's the challenge this week. You're being asked, what happens when eyes aren't on you? When people aren't looking at those particular things of like who's dating who and who's who's moving here or who is doing. It's not those day-to-day things now. It's a larger picture. It's a larger understanding of the world. It's things that are more important than just the party at the local bar or the nightclub that night or whatever. Like, it's people are growing up around you. Are you going to grow up with them? Because you have an eternal youth about you. You and Sagittarius are almost like Peter Pans. You have an internal insistence upon freedom at all costs. I respect that. But how does that freedom tie into the larger picture? How does that freedom tie into the higher perspective? How do you contribute to the betterment of everybody? What's your part in teaching them? There's just some alone time that you have to take this week that is not going to be easy for you. But it's a challenge that you need to meet. See what your contributions to the larger picture is, the larger community, the larger, something that doesn't directly benefit you. Something that doesn't give you some sort of, instantaneous gratification or validation or focus, focus. This is a challenge for you this week, is right, really not being the center of attention, not being the center of the party, not being. Do you even exist when you're not getting paid attention to? Are you even in the room? Yes, you are. What do you think of you? Have a long talk with who you are inside and establishing yourself, not through your challenges with others, your confrontations with others, your conversations with others, but just what matters to you. Because I see you trying to almost make eyes at somebody. And it's like you want it, it's almost like you have had so much hype around you for so long. The boombox has been booming. You're almost scared of the silence. It almost hurts your ears when it gets turned off. And you are on the verge and maybe at risk of offering yourself to somebody this week that you normally wouldn't, just because you just want to flirt with anybody, right? You just want to get somebody's attention because you haven't been getting enough. And I'm telling you, that you'll cross a line and you will be very upset by the person who ends up in your life. Whereas if you go the other way and you're just like, all right, the silence is hurting my head right now, but it's a necessary hurt. I need this right now. I need this. I need me again. I need, maybe just listen to your music. If you're going to listen to any voices, let it not be a crowded room. Let it not be a concert. Let it just turn on your music and turn it up. And let it just sort of clarify your soul. Because you've had so much interaction over this summer. You've had so much popping off and going on. You haven't checked in with your star player. And Gemini, you need to do that this week. You need to clear out the party. You need to let the band and parade pass you by. It has to be done right now, because we're coming into a step higher. We're coming into a step bigger and larger. Where is your maturity coming in? Like, how are you growing? How are you developing? How are you letting yourself move forward? Because there's a propensity toward staying the same. You know, you found a niche and it works really well for you. But even that has to evolve. So the challenge this week is to figure out what's your role to play in that evolution, in that higher purpose. And who are you without the crowds? I feel like I'm going to get a lot of pushback from you guys with this reading, because you feel very secure in yourself. But something this week is going to demonstrate that a lot of that security has to do with how other people perceive you. And you didn't realize it. That a lot of how good you feel about you is based on how you affect others. And without getting that input back from them, because their focus and their attention is now on other things, you're going to start to lose that sense of self that you thought was so secure. And that's the real challenge, is to get in tune with your star player and to have everybody you need in the room when you're in the room by yourself. All alone. Not talking to somebody or tape recording or... No. You actually may get, I don't know, some sort of visions this week. Sort of a divine guidance, if you will. Visions or messages coming in. Like from the ether. Like messages from spirit, from places you don't realize. It could be your brain inventing somebody in the room. Like, you really, this is a good challenge for you this week. What is your role to play in the big picture, Gemini? It is to give abundance. It is to develop communities and to create communities. It is to bring people together and get them talking and get them thinking. It is to inspire this momentum. It is all of those things. But it's also to be comfortable with the fact when they start turning around and paying attention to each other instead of you. Then that's okay, because what you've built is also who you are. And that's where your foundation never goes away. And that's the eye-opening awakening that you really have this week. Is that even though you didn't see them talking to you or hear them talking directly to you, you thought you were left out of the conversation. You weren't. The conversation is happening because of you. So you can never really be left out of the conversation, can you? And in letting go, you find that purpose. You find that higher purpose. That you've created this network. That you've laid the foundation. And you find yourself in finding that net, that needlework, that tapestry, the threads to the tapestry. You've got You've got a strong set of like a solid tribe. You've got a solid tribe of people with you, Gemini. Somebody that will love you unconditionally no matter what. Somebody who constantly inspires you. And a bunch of, like a small group of people who just really are always there for you. You know, you can always go back home. So you have that soul tribe, that smaller group that you can return to and go back to. I feel like that would be a good place to start this week with them. I feel like you've known these people for a very long time in your life. Return to them to help yourself return to you, to get a more pure perspective on your part, your weaving in the tapestry, your mission here right now, where you fit in at this newer part of your life when everybody else seems to have developed and grown, and they have. They've developed and they've grown. Are they leaving you behind? So what? You're never going to be far behind. You're part of their, you were part of them. You were part of their development and growth. They're not, they can't leave you behind because you're a part of them. But it is definitely time to let go. See, that's what you need right now, Gemini. You need silence. You need it. The calm. The nothing. That's what you need. Let it all sink in. It'll all come back. It'll all become very, very clear to you when you give yourself that time. And then you'll start to see the tapestry that you've woven and created all around you all the time. And you'll know that you don't need the extra because you already have so much. I'm going to continue a reading over on Vimeo to dive deep into romance, what might be going on with romance this week for you. I'm also going to dive a little bit deeper into this scenario to see what's going on and if there are some pitfalls that you might want to watch out for. Because I feel like there are. I feel like there's old hang-ups that could come back to try to bite you this week. Let me know what's happening below. I'm really interested to see what's going on, Gemini. I'll see you. Hopefully I'll see you over on Vimeo. If not, then I say goodbye to you now, and I will reconvene next week. I really just want to give you guys your silence and your peace. Because that's what you need so much right now, is silence and peace.